different things. And I was like, wow, you know, and I listen to how people communicate, and I'm like, wait, be more specific. Be more specific. I'm like, what do you mean be more specific? I'm like, you too vague. Right? Are y'all following me? They right. Okay.
That one is.
Now listen, I'm not losing her.
Okay, very good.
Just making sure. So then I became part of the student rep. I was a student rep at Chicago State, so I was basically the youngest person on the board, and I helped to make decisions for the board. And I would have to think about all of the students at the school, so I had to make decisions on behalf of the students, just one person. And it could become a lot of pressure, because when they wanted to raise tuition, I knew why they needed to raise tuition, but the students weren't there in the meeting to understand why they needed to raise tuition. So
and you understood the students'
and I understood the students' perspective, so I'm like, you can't raise tuition. I'm like, how do I go back and tell them you want to raise tuition? It was a lot of responsibility, but I had to be able to communicate that back to the students and to let them know that it's all part of the program and getting better education, and they had to do upgrades around the school. It was just so many things, but I had to communicate that. And this is all in the process of still being a student and on the dance team and all that other stuff. And then I went on, I was homecoming queen, and I didn't even think that I really wanted to do it. Somebody was like, you should run, and I'm like, sure. You know, sometimes people can speak positivity on you, and you just like, yeah, okay. And I did. And then I wound up, yes. And it was cool. It was, yeah. And I wound up speaking at my graduation. That was the first time that I had to speak to over 5,000 people. And it was really interesting. It was really interesting. Because when I had to speak in 8th grade, it was different. It was only about maybe 300 or 400 people. And then when I had to speak in that big convocation center, I was like, who are all these people? Oh my God. But then I just know that when you speak, what's from the heart reaches the heart. And if you follow that, you can't go wrong. And then every year they issue an award for one student, and it's called the President's Cup. And I remember when I saw somebody get that cup, I just kept saying, I'm going to get that cup. I want that cup. I don't know what I have to do to get that cup. I would have been asked, what do I have to do to get one of those? They said leadership, you have to be involved, you have to keep your grades up. And I was like, okay, done. And I'm saying this because if it's something that you want, somebody say you have to keep your grades up, you have to stay focused and clap. Done. Right? Right? Because one thing that I remember being told when I was your age, that if I kept my grades and stuff together and I participated in sports and did all these different activities and became a leader in my classes and all of that, that I could write my own ticket through school. And I remember when I was told that, I was like, you know what? Okay. I said, what does that mean? You'll get your college paid for and all of this. And I was just like, okay. I went home that day and said, if I get a scholarship, which y'all got me a copy. I meant that. I said, for real. And my parents, they said, let us talk about it. Let us think on it. I said, okay. That's the deal. Now, I was in high school. I said, no, that's the deal. Now, if I get a scholarship and you don't have to pay a dime for my college, I want a copy. Okay. Oh, I fought tooth and nail for this. I was like, anything that came up, I'm like, what? I'm almost at a B. Oh, because I was driving after something, and that goes to show that when you are driven towards something and you have a why and it's something that you want that is bigger than you, anything that get in your way, you're gonna push straight through. It wasn't that I didn't have obstacles. I got suspended. I got in trouble. I mean, all these things happen. But I'm gonna tell you, when I got suspended for having that page at that time, and they still like, well, whatever. The like the phone thing, that little thing was about that big. When I got suspended for having that, I went up to the school and I asked each one of my teachers, what's my homework for the week? Because I'm suspended, but I'm still responsible for the knowledge. I still need to know this stuff. And that's how we have to take responsibility. I could have gone back and said, well, I wasn't here, I was suspended, I didn't know what we needed to do. But now I feel like I'm at a point where, and for anybody, I didn't know is not an excuse. Mm-hmm. It's never an excuse. So if anything ever happened, you can't go back to school and say, well, I didn't know. No, it is your responsibility as a student. That is your job. The teacher's job is to teach. Mm-hmm. Your job is to learn. That's it. That's all.
Absolutely. Say that again.
The teacher's job is to teach. Your job as a student is to learn. Ask him as many questions as possible. all the time. Yep. Because when I was in school, I would ask so many questions. I had a professor that just felt like, are you doing this to annoy me? And I'm like, no, not at all. I am asking because I need clarity.
Right.
And other students after class say, I didn't even look at it that way until you start asking certain questions. Because the only way you can really understand if you know something is to ask it based on what it is that you know and put it in your own words. So are you saying blah, blah, blah? And that's even with communication. Does this mean, let me just make sure that first of all, we defining the same terms the same way.
Mm-hmm. Hot and hot.
Hot and hot. When you said it was hot, I took it for granted that you meant spicy hot.
Right.
Right?
You was talking about the
You
temperature.
was like, see? So you have to have that clarity and just communication. And especially getting clarity on what it is that you're trying to know. And that's the way you get ahead. That's the way you get ahead. Then I went to graduate school. I did take a year off because I felt like I need a break. After you get a degree in physics, you need a break. Because I had so much work. I didn't go out. I didn't party. I didn't have time. And people used to ask me about going out. And I'm like, I don't have time. I said, you know what? If I do what I have to do now, if I make the sacrifices now, I'll be able to party the right way on the back end when I have some money.
Yeah.
And I meant that. I said, no, I don't want to party with y'all for what? Y'all just standing around listening to music.
And a dollar bill.
Right.
And I want champagne.
Right. All y'all just stand around and now they just stand around to get on the phone. Like, that's a whole different party thing. At least we danced.
Yeah.
Now they like taking selfies and like, that's the party. No, we danced and sweat. We got hot and everything else. But in school, I was like, no. The only time I went to a party at school was the day when I got homecoming training because I knew that I needed
He's fine. He's playing with a toy.
I just want you to continue. I know that I got this parent thing all out.
Okay. Because I knew that they would be looking for me, because I won. Because I'm representing the school. So I was like, okay, I have to go. So I kind of walked in there. It's like, Kara, out. I'm like, well, it wasn't that I was a nerd, but I was focused. I knew what it was that I needed to do. But I had my times when I wanted to be cool and hang out and do all of that. But it's a time for that. And it wasn't while I was in school. Definitely not while I was in graduate school. So when I took that time off, I wound up going to graduate school. And I went to SIU for grad school. And I got a scholarship there too. It was called the Bridge to the Doctorate. And I applied for every scholarship. If it came up, if it was Amico, yes, I'm applying. I didn't care what the church you're offering a scholarship. Yes, I am applying. I'm applying for everything. I maxed out my scholarship money, and they would send. So what they would do is they would send the money to the school, and then anything extra like a disbursement, I would get that money back. And I started a nice little nest egg and just start saving my money up.
Dula, show him where the bathroom is.
So understand that you can do that, and then I could just start using money. When I started working, I just tutored on campus. Like, I tried to make everything make sense. I didn't want to do anything outside of that. So I stayed at home. Oh, yeah. No, I applied for everything. And I still have some of the letters of rejection. I said, no, I'm going to keep this. Tear stained and everything. I'm going to keep this because this is part of my journey. I need these. I kept that. I kept the ones that said congratulations. I kept them all. I'm like, I need this. Because somebody needs to see this. And to understand that even when you get a rejection letter, it's okay. Life goes on. Even when you get a rejection letter from friends, it's okay. Life goes on. That happened to me too. I had a friend, and I think that propelled me to a whole nother level. Her mom was like, she can't hang with you, and she'll get in trouble with you. And it broke my heart. They moved her away and everything. And I think that put me in a place where I was like, I'm going to show them. But it was more just, let me just keep doing what I'm doing because it wasn't even about that. I didn't know where that was coming from. And the only thing that I could think of is she must have said something for them to even think that. So I was like, you know what, it's cool, and I had, other friends around me at the time. I was like, we're going to be okay. This is crazy. She was just here for a season. Oh, just for a season, right? And I'm just like, it broke my heart. But that just goes to show it happens. But you just have to keep pushing, right? People can be mean. And I'm just here to let you know, people can be mean. But you just push it up and just say, that's okay, I'll be all right. Boys can be mean. Girls sure can be mean. But you keep going. You just keep going. Because you don't let anybody define you, right? No matter what they say or do, right? Yes? Yes? Yes. Yes? Okay, I just want agreement. Because when you agree and you say it, then it means something different than just doing like this. Because that could just mean that you were stretching your neck. So then after I graduated, I did research for one of my professors. And I also had research published overseas and even here. So if you like type in Kara Scott and you type up like SIU, you'll see some of my research pop up that's been published. And it's a cool feeling. So I'm in books and research papers and all these different things. And then after that, I went to St. Louis all by myself. No parents, I was just out there. I'm just like, okay. Went out there and I started working on government contracts. From that, I came back here and started working for the federal government for Homeland Security, working on nuclear power plants. And it opened my eyes up in so many ways. So many ways. A lot of people say, well, it's a good thing we don't have any power plants in Illinois. I'm like, no, we have 6. We have 6 nuclear power plants right here in Illinois. We had 13 in the region and we had to monitor. And I was a scientist, and I was actually the only person that had my position in the entire U.S. Yeah, the double scientist. Yeah, it was interesting. And I was yeah, so I had to represent. Absolutely. And that goes to show, because and there's no doubt in my mind that you all do some traveling, you will be around some people from different areas that don't look like you, but you have to represent. You have to be the lady, right? Kaden. Because I'm going to tell you, according to what they see on television, it's not what every girl from the south side of Chicago is like or look like or act like. Michelle Obama, okay? So we have to represent. We have to get good representation of what comes from the south side of Chicago. So, and now I'm an international speaker. I had an opportunity to walk away from that job so that I can start doing some other things so that I can do things like this. Because if I was working as much traveling as I did for the federal government, I wouldn't be able to do the things that I did. And so it's not to say that people shouldn't work, but it wasn't for me. Okay? It just wasn't for me. And now we have different programs that we do with women. We do a lot of different things. We have calls that we do every single morning. It's like a morning motivation call that we do. We have ladies' nights. We have red carpet events. Just a lot of things. Because one thing that I realized with women, we go through so much, but we have to put so much focus on kids and husbands and everything else, careers, that we forget about us. And one day we just look up like, who am I? What is this? We go to sleep with stuff on our mind. We wake up with stuff on our mind. Just period. So we have those different events. And we also have a non-for-profit called Already Always Faith. And we've been working with some people out in LA to actually get additional funding to do a lot of different things across the globe. So it's a pretty cool thing. So little known facts about me, and this is it. I bought my first house at 25. I flew an airplane last year. Wow.
You piloted?
Yes. And for all of 5 minutes.
Okay.
And I said, okay, I need you to take it because I don't want this to be the one to go down. He was like, because you have the gears on both sides.
Right.
And he was like, go ahead, take over. So he switched it to me. And I'm sitting there and I'm like trying to, and he's like, well, we're going to go over there. And you understand that when you fly a plane, it does not go where you want it to go. You just ultimately know where it is that you want to go, but you have to wait for the wind to get you there.
Really?
Yes. It's the weirdest thing, and I can see how planes can go down. So, like, the plane, we're going this way, and the air is like, the wind is like pushing us this way. And he's like, we're going to go. He's like, don't worry, we just scared. It is. Because you almost want to go like this, but that's how they turn it over. So I'm like driving like this, and he's like, oh, yeah, just going to go over that way. And he's just looking out. Doing good. And I'm like, you telling me to go that way, but the plane is going this way. He's like, you're fine. And I was just like, oh, you gotta take it. He's like, no, you're cool. Stay looking out the window. I said, look, take it. Because I I don't think I can do this. No, I don't like it. Right, okay. And I'm a stock investor. I own some property. And you want to know about that picture, right? Yes. Of course you do.
Now, was that picture? Barack Obama and you.
Barack Obama and me. And as you can see, with the picture right next to it, I'm sitting at the table. Now,
but this is because he all white already, so
yeah.
this is a recent picture.
This was actually 2 years ago. So this is him and that's me. Like I was literally
at the table. Okay.
Sitting at the table with the president. You see me? Yes. And I didn't post that picture on Facebook because of the different people that's in there. You don't know who have political connections. So that one was a little easier to post. The other one, I just don't know. You know? So I was asked, I was invited on a Tuesday. I just got a phone call from the Secretary of State and said, hey, do you want to go and have breakfast with the president? Now, I'm thinking that it would be me in a big hall and him way up in the front. And I'm like, just have it. And I'm thinking I'll be like, oh yeah, I see him. When I walk in and I'm at Meredith Bloom's house, now this is Neil Bloom. Neil Bloom is a billionaire.
And a political powerhouse in this state.
Yeah. And he has casinos and all these different things. When I walked up in her, I didn't know. And I just looked up like different billionaires. And I'm like, whoa, Bloom? Wait a minute. It's not a whole lot of Blooms running around here. Now, I said, Neil Bloom doing that? I can't. What? So when I walk in, I'm thinking, okay, is he going to come for real? Like we're in somebody's house. Mm-hmm. Table was set, tip cards were there, and I had my tip card, his tip card, and I couldn't take my cell phone, so I had to track the guy down there that was doing the photography. So sometimes you have to do your research when it's something that you want. So I looked, and I was just like, President Obama breakfast, Chicago, and found one picture that said photo courtesy of. Googled him, inboxed him, sent him an email, said, look, I was at the event, I need those pictures. And that's how I wound up getting these pictures. Okay? Absolutely. Yep, when he walked in that room, I must have almost felt the thing.
You and Val Warner, huh?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. It's quite a few of them that I have, too. That's me.
That's not, you wanted to be an astronaut way back then?
Okay. No, those are just pigtails and my little shirt that I don't know.
Okay, that looks like a
that's my third grade picture. Go figure, right? See, I told you I was young. I can put my tab on my head. You know, that is.
That's theory. As a nerd.
And I said, thank you, princesses. Now I'll open it up for you. You probably answered every question that you already had. Oh, maybe not. No? Okay.
Tony, you in the interview seat.
Yours.
You in the interview seat. Karen, she wants you to sit so she can interview you. Make sure you speak up there.
Do I say that at the end of our questions?
You can.
Oh, I keep going off the tablet. Okay, yes. Okay, my first question is, when you were a kid, did you ever dream?
Did I ever dream of becoming a scientist?
No, you don't. It's already a scientist, but
as a kid, I started out wanting to be an attorney.
that's right.
And I like math and science, but to be honest with you, nobody ever told me that I could become a scientist. It wasn't even a thought of mine. I heard about becoming a teacher. I heard about becoming a doctor, a lawyer. These are people that you saw. As far as a scientist, who would ever think, what, science? Like you could become a scientist. And that came about when I started as doing engineering at Chicago State. But to do engineering, I had to take physics. And my teacher wanted me to do research with him. So when you're doing good work, other people will always want you to do work. And he asked me to come and do research with him in Alabama. And then as a result, he told me, just go ahead and get your degree in physics. It'll make you a stronger engineer. And then I just saw that it wasn't enough of us, females, one, and then African American females doing science. And I was like, I can do this. I get it. I understand it. I can interpret it. I can teach it. And that's how it happened.
Because the STEM program.
She's gonna open it up to you. Wait a
I
minute.
need to know now because she's talking about
Just keep your
the
question.
STEM program.
Just keep your question. Okay, come on, Thierry.
Now, my next question. What obstacles did you face as you were pursuing your career?
Obstacles, that's a very good question. What obstacles did I face? As a scientist, I didn't feel like for a long time that I had the support that I needed. And there were always study groups forming, and I would always wonder when they study, but it was like maybe, like if it was all Asians, they would all get together. All of the Caucasian kids would get together. And it just wasn't a lot of us in science. Maybe 3 of us. And we'd get together and, you really need that strong support system, right? So I got to a point where I got really frustrated. And to be honest with you, I thought I quit school. I thought I quit, right? What do I mean by I thought I quit? Here it is it was on a Tuesday. I had classes Tuesday and Thursday. And this was in graduate school. And I remember sitting there and I said, you know what? I just want to go home. Sometimes you just want to go home. That's all I felt. I just wanted to go home. And I called my mom. I said, I'm coming home. She didn't know what that meant, but I meant I'm coming home for good. I'm coming home. And I called the lady who had given me the scholarship. I called her number at 1 o'clock in the morning to set an appointment with her to tell her that I was leaving. I called at 1 o'clock. That lady answered that phone. It was like, wait a minute. Both of us got real serious real fast. Because she said, it's 1 o'clock in the morning. You calling me. What is going on? And at that point, I made up in my mind I was quitting. I was like, I'm leaving. And I said it. I had stuck my chest out. I'm not letting anybody tell me otherwise. And she's just kind of relaxed. And she just got quiet for a minute. And she said, she would always say, my dear. She was like the mother on campus. And she said, my dear, I just want you to know, yes, you're going to mess up my notes. Yes, I don't want you to go. But I'm not going to try to talk you out of it. And I'm sitting down and I don't want you to talk me out of it. And the more she talked, like I felt convicted. And she said, but I will tell you this. If you give up, you're not only giving up on you. You're giving up on the community. You giving up on the school, you giving up, and she just kept going on who I was giving up on your parents. You giving up on other people that will look up to you. You are giving up on more people than just yourself. Oh, and I got off that phone and I cried. And I said, I don't care what she said, I'm leaving. I stayed home. Now, I had Tuesday, Thursday classes. I stayed home. Obviously, that Wednesday. Thursday, I didn't step foot in not one class. It felt good to just go take a walk, not go to class, just sit at home. Friday came, I was like, okay, I'm not going to pack just yet. So I put little things in bags, comforters and stuff like that. Saturday, Sunday, I thought about it some more, went to church. Monday came around, and Tuesday, I was back in class. I just needed a break. And sometimes you just have to take a break. That's all I need. I didn't need to fight. I was just like, because I was ready to go. But I think had she approached it differently, I probably would have become rebellious and left. But because she was real motherly about it and just really broke it down on a bigger scale.
It ain't really about you.
It ain't about you. I said, okay, well, I just needed a break. And I think that was like a real defining moment for me. The haters that told me I couldn't do what I wanted to do, I kept on persevere. I just kept going. You don't think about people that say that you can't do it, because one thing that I realized, when somebody tell you that, is a reflection of what they feel like they can't do. And that's the truth. When I have people, and it's not, sometimes people think that they're protecting you or they're saving you from something, but in a lot of cases, they just feel like, if I can't step out there and go after my dream, then neither can you. You think that you can actually do 4 things? Because they're thinking to themselves, I can't do 4 things. Why do you think you can do 4 things? You just have to let them know it's not about you. It has nothing to do with you. And you just have to always stand your ground and just say, I know what's possible. Because when I said that I would retire at 35, when I said that in the undergrad, I didn't know how it would happen. But I said so much that it came to fruition. 2 weeks before I walked away from my job, I would have been turning 36. 2 weeks before I was turning 36, I walked away. And it happened like that because I spoke it. I put it out there for so long that I looked up, and here it is. I'm like, it's time. It's time. And that's why you really have to be very careful of the things that you say, the things that you speak about yourself. Anything that comes after I am or I can or I can't, whatever you say, your body starts to believe it. So if you say, I can't do that, or I can't tie my shoe, I can't, it's a lot of things that you can't do. What did I say? Yet. Before you learn how to walk, you didn't know how to walk. Before you learn how to run, you didn't know how to run. Before somebody taught you how to snap your fingers, you couldn't snap your fingers, right? But you learned, right?
Old Testament, the I am principle.
I am that I am. And you are what you say you are.
You can open it up to questions. Other questions.
Oh, the picture.
The STEM program in Chicago, 100 years ago, in the 79, 80, when I was in high school, we were discouraged about pursuing the science out of a technical school. I came out of Lindblom. Out of a technical environment, we were discouraged about pursuing the sciences, the math, the English, even though they made you take drafting, they made you take physics, they made you take chemistry, they made you take geometry, they made you take all of these classes. And then, because at that time, the school system was, Lindblom was probably about 50-60% Chinese.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so, but the African Americans, and especially the females, they, you were kind of discouraged into pursuing the sciences. Now, this program, the STEM program in the state of Illinois, they're focusing all of this attention on the sciences and on the math and on the engineering. And when I see those programs, even the females are not us. Right? They're Hispanic. Right? They're Asian. Right? They're not us. What would you say to the little us's in the room to encourage that? Because the technology, the computer, the maths, the sciences, that's where the real money is in this day and age.
You know, you all like math? Yeah? Yeah? Most of the time when it comes to, because this is it's a serious discussion, especially in our community, because what happened when I was at Bogan, we had a teacher that was an English major teaching math, because there was a shortage of math teachers that were willing to work in our community. So she even said on her first day, don't expect me to know more than you know, because I'm an English professor. I'm an English teacher. That's my major. And I'm like, but I like math. I don't want to fall short because you don't understand it. So, and now with having so much technology and having access to Google and Ask Jeeves, that's what we had. Ask Jeeves, you can look up anything. You can look up anything online. You can look up how to make anything, how to discover, how to solve any problem. So I would encourage you if it's something that you're interested in, because look, even if a person is into the arts, drafting, anything like that, it all have some type of scientific component with it. I remember there was a lady she was really into art. She did a lot with colors. And she would talk about what colors blended with what, like when you present your presentations on charts and stuff like that. And she contributed to most of the science books. And her thing was colors. And so, but in the process, she started to understand more about what it was that you needed to see just from a scientific eye when you're looking at charts. And she would come to our conventions, and she would talk about what colors went with what and what didn't. I mean, but she could take that anyway. She could take that in interior decorating, anything. But she did it with charts and maps and how do you explain, maps using different colors and all these different things. And it was just chloroplex. That's what it was. And that's just like using the map and just changing the colors based on, like, if you were doing demographics and you were looking at population density, then the darker the color, the heavier density. But she blended the colors. And this was something that she came up with. And I'm like, wow. So it's always some kind of way. And that was what pushed me to go into the sciences, because I wanted to be different. I wanted to be different. I didn't want to be like everybody else. And I was like, I wanted something that would challenge me, because I knew that if I challenged myself, then anything else that came from the outside, that I could handle. Because I challenged myself first. And I will push myself. And I will even force myself. I would stay up sometimes on one problem all night working on the problem just because it was a challenge and it just felt good when I got the answer. And I would go to class and the teacher say, who figured it out? I'm like, me? And it was a satisfaction in saying I figured it out. I remember you asked one of the challenges that I had. I remember having a problem that I solved a different way than my professor, and he marked it wrong. And I went to his office so fast, because I'm like, wait a minute, how did you mark this wrong? And he was like, well, here's the answer. He showed me something in a book. I said, but I broke this problem down. I said, we can go step by step, and you can see. I said, this is right? What we have here is the knowns and unknowns. And this next step is right? Like, I was so serious and adamant about my work because I put so much into it. I went step by step. We got down to the answer. I said, so that's right? But that's not the same answer. I said, that's not what I'm saying. I don't have that book. You have the answer book. I don't have the answer book. We became real good friends after that because he saw I put in the work. And he was just like, wow, I don't see where you went wrong. And he was like, I wouldn't have done it that way. But it's right. I said, but it doesn't matter. If somebody say they going downtown Chicago, it doesn't matter if they loop all the way around and it's got, as long as you get there. Yeah. He's like, but that was a long way. It doesn't matter. That's the way I understand. So you always just have to push yourself. Push yourself and challenge yourself, because I'm going to tell you, no matter what it is that you go into, you want to set yourself apart and be the best at it. Whatever it is that you do.
You want to be a global hairstylist.
There you go.
You want to be doing hair in France.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You want to be a colorist. You want to take, because colors are popular. I wish I had people like you when we were growing up to feed into us. And as really as minority women and the STEM program, and I, in my retirement force, I see all these programs. I saw that robotics team. And I'm looking at the robotics team, and I'm like, where are we? They got scholarships. They got money. They got fame. They made national TV, not just Chicago. They came from the north side. There was not a darkie in the bunch.
It's still prevalent. It's still obvious. So I would encourage you, because you can always go back and do other stuff. I would say use that as your go-to. Since you like math now, keep liking math. Just keep liking math. Because you can always do other stuff, but that will set you apart. Like, not only am I a scientist or a mathematician, people are like, you a double scientist. That's why I wound up being the president. There's no doubt in my mind. Because I set myself apart on purpose. And it's not to say anything about any other major, but if I was like, yeah, I'm an English major, I write English and you would have been like, oh, okay, that's nice. But I'm like, no, I'm a black female from the south side of Chicago and I'm a double scientist. You need to be the president.
Absolutely.
I do. I need to be here.
Absolutely.
Because it sets you apart. So, I mean, if you get it, if you understand math now, even if you don't understand it, most of the time it's one little concept that a person doesn't get. It's one little concept. I sat down with the guy when I was in school. He was like, I'm ready to drop out. This when I was an undergrad. He was like, it's math. I don't get it. I just don't get it. I sat down with him and we started from page 1 of his math book until I figured out what it was he didn't get. I'm like, you get this? Yeah, I get that. That's easy. I'm like, okay, we're gonna go one page at a time. You get this? Yeah, I get that. That's easy. I'm like, okay, I'm just trying to see what a breakdown is at. And it was like right around like chapter 5. He was like, that? I don't know what they're talking about. I was like, all right, we have a starting point. Because at first I said, what is it that you don't understand? He was like, I don't even know. I'm just lost. And we have to literally, when I took the time now, to this day, he called me his sister. You just don't know what you did for me. But it takes that. And it didn't take long for him to get it. It was that one concept. And then he got it. And he didn't need me again. And that's where the power lies. You don't need me again. Because now you.
Any other questions? No?
Any other questions? I didn't want to bore you all, but I didn't know what you wanted to hear. So I put everything.
And you did, and I think you've been an inspiration to me, and I'm old. Yeah, I'm excited for you all's future. I'm excited that you walked away from the big bucks, the corporate money, to pour into your community, to pour in these young ladies. Because that's what's needed. That's what's lacking.
Right.
They need to know they can.
That's right.
They can.
And they will.
And they will.
Right? I think Tony had a question.
Oh, sorry.
What is your advice to a high schooler as far as keeping up with curriculum and friends, new friends that you meet?
Yeah.
She's talking about her daughter, obviously.
I get it. Oh my God. I told the story. I don't know if you were here when I told the story, but I had a friend that was pulled away from me. Yeah. And at that point, it didn't make me cold towards people, but it let me know that people are. And it just made me get that much more serious about my work. I didn't worry. And to be honest with you, like there's so many distractions with Facebook and Twitter and all this social media that I oftentimes think about how do kids do it nowadays, because there's so many distractions. But you have to realize that if it's something that if there's something that you want out of life, if there's something that you see yourself doing, that you want to have, you have to separate yourself from stuff. You have to be focused. Laser focused. I talked about when I was younger, there was someone that did it was a motivational speaker came to my school and was talking about having blindness, like horses. Horses really have those blindness and they don't see anything. And one of the things that I realize now, I can actually put a term on it, and it's just called it's self-mastery. Self-mastery. Controlling your emotions, controlling how it is you process things that happen. And sometimes things just happen. And it's not happening to you or on you. Sometimes things just happen. You just have to keep doing it. Because eventually high school will be over. Right? Go a year you in now. Okay. Eventually it will be over. Right?
Right.
No, Ivy.
Yeah.
And so through high school, you one thing that you should realize is that once you're out, you can't go back. These are your high school years. Like, we could only talk about, like, reflecting backwards on high school. So I'm going back to high school. So you want to make the best of it. And you can stay out of trouble. I mean, make sure that you're around people that are moving. You can tell who's going somewhere in life. Even in high school, right? You can tell those that are doing their work, those who are focused. Try to be around
Very purpose of responsibility.
like, just to be around people like just following us behind them. Because you want to be around people that are positive things. Because that becomes your network. That becomes the people you in college that y'all talking about things to do at school.
There's a lot of people on here. Oh, shoot.
This place is no longer. It died.
When it's done.
Okay.
What can you do about that?
So you want to always you want to do it because it matters. Because I'll tell you, conversations that you have with people.